Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Immigration for All, presented by Nora Global and powered by Khulna Tech. For today's session, I, Sudiksha Bohra, is your host. You may already know that we have rebranded our popular Monday Live series under this new banner to better reflect our mission of providing extensively comprehensive immigration insights. As a part of this revamp, we are excited to announce this session will also podcast in Spotify and Apple Podcast, allowing you to tune in to our live sessions at your convenience. नमस्कार सबैजनालाई म सुदीक्षा बोहरा हामी अर्को एपिसोडमा आइसकेका छौँ इमिग्रेसन फर अलको यो चाहिँ नोरा ग्लोबल अनि ले प्रेजेन्ट गरेको र खुल्ला टेकले पावर गरिएको हो अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ अब यो मन्डे लाइफको सिरिजमा चाहिँ हामीले थोरै रिब्रान्ड गरेका छौँ ताकि हाम्रो कम्प्रिहेन्सिभ इमिग्रेसन इन्साइट्सहरू देखियोस् भनेर For today's session, our topic is EB2 NIW tips for 2025. हाम्रो आजको सेसनको टपिक चाहिँ EB2 NIW सँग रिलेटेड हुनेछ र यो चाहिँ 2025 को लागि केही टिप्सहरू हुनेछ अब कुनै पनि ढिला नगरिकन म मिस्टर राजु महाजनलाई चाहिँ बोलाउन चाहन्छु Without any delay, let's welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Raju Mahajan, the principal attorney of Raju Law.
Thank you very much, Sudiksha, for hosting this event today, live today, and also translating all of your introductory remarks into Nepali language. I'm pretty sure all of our Nepali friends will be highly benefited from our today's live. As you said, our today's topic is EB2 NIW tips for 2025. So without further delay, I would like to go to the presentation. I would like to see the PowerPoint, please.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, audience. As you already know, many people always reach out to me, hey, there's a new year coming, 2025, and also there's a new president in the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. So what are going to, change in NIW fields and what I need to address these new changes, what are going to happen. So today's video is focusing on latest developments for EB2 NIW, especially under 2025, under Donald Trump, what you need to do to have a better NIW application, how to address those issues. So I'm going to talk about those today. Next slide, please. Also, many of you already know that this video is not only available in YouTube and Facebook, we are also available for audio for podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and other audio places. So those who are not seeing our video, please do not worry. Anything that is in the PowerPoint presentation, I explain it so well that even if you do not see the PowerPoints, do not worry about that. You'll understand what I'm trying to say. So before I go to the 2025 tips and techniques and latest updates, let me remind you the basic factors for USCIS, what USCIS considers as basic factors for national interest waiver. Many of you, I think, already know, but those who do not know, this is for them. So there are three-factor tests. It's called In-Re Danashar test. In-Re Danashar is a 2016 seminal case, and that kind of changed the entire NIW application. And here are the three-prong test under Danashar test. The proposed endeavor has both substantial merit and national importance. I'm reading it again so that you understand. This is a really, really important prong under In-Re Danashar. The proposed endeavor has both substantial merit and national importance. The second prong is you are well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor. And the third prong is, on balance, it would be beneficial to the United States to waive the requirements of a job offer and thus the labor certification. So in In-Re Danashar test, three things are really, really important. Number one, proposed endeavor. Number two, substantial merit. And number three, national importance. Many people, even some lawyers, they say, oh, proposed endeavor is not that important for NIW application. It does not make any sense to me. It really does not, because proposed endeavor is literally the backbone of the entire NIW application. So when any client of mine or anybody says proposed endeavor is not important, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, that is not true. So those who are watching our videos today, Please remember, proposed endeavor is the most important thing in entire NIW application. This is the backbone of the NIW application. And also you must remember about the substantial merit and national importance part. And I'm going to talk detail about that in a minute. Next slide, please. All right. So, what are the challenges we see regarding substantial merit, especially from our clients? Or, when I talk to other attorneys, what are the challenges they receive from our clients? So, petitioners often fail to provide clear evidence that their contribution extends beyond benefiting themselves or their immediate employer. Remember, your proposed endeavor must have substantial merit. Your proposed endeavor cannot be something that is just benefiting you or like your immediate employer. So let's say you are working for a IT company, and let's say you are developing some softwares for that company, and what your company is going to do, they're going to sell this software, make some money, and as a result, you will get salary probably at the end of the year, probably some raise, some bonus. That's the benefit. In that case, that is not a substantial merit. That is not important for American national importance. It is only benefiting the company and probably you. So this kind of proposed endeavor is not going to work for NIW. You have to come up with the idea that has substantial merit. The national importance part must be addressed. You must do something that is going to benefit the America as a country, or even the world as a as a global entity. So you have to think something bigger. You have to come up with some bigger ideas. And I have a total separate YouTube video on how to write a good proposed endeavor. I'm not going to go that detailed. This is just the latest updates of NIWs and how to address it in 2025 kind of videos. I'm not going that detail. I advise you to watch that video so you understand what you need to do to write a good proposed endeavor. The second challenge we have regarding substantial merit is RFEs frequently highlight the lack of tangible proof that the petitioner's work will meaningfully contribute to the national or global community. That's I just said. So a lot of time, when people do not write good proposed endeavor, they receive RFE, and in the RFE, USA say, hey, you said that your proposed endeavor is going to contribute to the American national interest or the global community, but I don't see any proof. The way you wrote it, it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to benefit America. So please remember to write a good proposed endeavor, and always remember that your proposed endeavor must have substantial merit that will protect America's national interest, or even better, if it's a good for the global community. So you have to come up with some big ideas. You have to show some national importance, national benefit. Next slide, please. All right. Next challenge is we are talking about the national importance. As I said, insufficient connection between the proposed endeavor and national importance. As I said, a lot of time people will say something in their proposed endeavor that is not that big of a deal. If it is not something that is going to do good to America as a whole, then it's not a good proposed endeavor. Even if you do something that is going to do benefit to your state, so let's say you live in the state of Colorado and you're going to do something that is good for the state of Colorado, that is not national importance. You have to understand, America is a big country, so its national interest is big. It's not just one state. And the good thing is, when it's a big country, America has interest in pretty much every field. So you have to come up with some big picture thing about your proposed endeavor. Another challenge is lack of compelling evidence detailing how the petitioner endeavor will significantly affect multiple sectors or industries. This is another significant thing. So sometimes some people's proposed endeavors are so narrow, it doesn't have big national importance kind of connection. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're going to develop a software that your company can sell, and with that software, let's say a very small sector or very small industry will be benefited. That's also not a national importance. You have to come up with some, as I said, come up with some idea that has a bigger implication, that has a bigger impact, nationwide, international kind of impact. Only then it would be a good proposed endeavor. And again, let me tell you again, I know a lot of people will forget it. proposed endeavor is the important thing, the backbone of entire NIW application, and it must have substantial merit and national importance. Please remember that part. Next slide, please. All right. Challenges regarding documentation and evidence. This is another big challenge we face when we, take care of our clients' NIW application. National merit claims are often generic. It's very generic and lack the depth to establish influence beyond the petitioner's immediate field. As I said, if you are a student of theoretical physics and if you are going to do something that is only going to do even a tiny sectors of theoretical physics, it may not have national importance. So you have to come up with some bigger idea. And the best way, I tell that to all of my clients and all of my future clients, and I told that in many of my YouTube videos. Talk about research. Research is such a great thing, such a important thing. If you can do a research and your research can be implemented by any university or any company, that will have a bigger impact, because doing a research is kind of creating a knowledge, and knowledge is the most important thing compared to if you say in your proposed endeavor that, oh, I'm going to work for ABC Corporation, or I'm going to develop a software, or I'm going to keep working as a professor, or I'm going to do something, I'm going to be like a chief marketing officer of a company. Those are not that big of a deal. Doing research is really big of a deal. So even though let's say you do not know whether you'll be able to do research in future or not, probably you'll be just a regular employee of a company, that is okay. But for the purpose of NIW, please tell that you're going to do research in this field, and the field must be like a big field. It must have some substantial merit, some national importance. So yes, claiming that mentioning in your proposed endeavor that you're going to do research is way more valuable, more fruitful for NIW application than talking about a job or something else. So please remember that part. Letters of recommendations are criticized for being overly broad and failing to detail the petitioner's specific contribution and impact. Many times we see that our clients, they just develop a letter of recommendation through AI, through ChatGPT. Please remember, USCIS has mechanism to detect AI generated documents, including letter of recommendations. Even some professors, some recommenders who are giving you recommendation letters, they do it through ChatGPT, which is not good. You have to write it in a very organic way, and it must be very connected to you, the applicant, and the recommender. And the recommendation letter must talk about your connection. What did you do together, what conference you went together, or what project you did together, kind of things. So it cannot be, oh, he's a good guy, he's capable of doing his things. A lot of time we see that so vague sentences, it doesn't make any sense to me as an attorney, or even USCIS officers. It doesn't make any sense to them. It's sometimes very overly broad, and it doesn't go detail about your qualification, your background, or anything. So please, take it seriously. I don't know how to say that in a better way. Getting a green card is really important for your life. If you can get a green card, your life would be totally changed. Please pay attention. Please spend time. Even though you retained a good attorney, attorneys only know a little bit about you. You know yourself. You know about your background. You know about your research more than anybody in the world. So please pay attention. Please spend some time. Please take it seriously. Please take it seriously. I don't know how to say that in a better way, but please take it seriously. Please, please pay attention. Please spend time. All right. The next challenge regarding the documentation and evidence is evidence of long-term influence on industry or society is often insufficient and poorly articulated. So meaning is, a lot of time what you say has a short-term benefit. Let's say you're going to, there's a problem and you're going to solve the problem, like a very short-term, very temporary, very small problems. That is not enough for NIW. You have to come up with some idea that will have a long-term impact on the industry. And then you can say, oh, you please tell me what to write. I cannot. I cannot, because I do not know more about your background than yourself. It is your field. You must come up with the idea. And another thing, let me tell it here. Many times, many clients say, "Hey, you have drafted so many NIW applications. Why not you draft my proposed endeavor?" Number one, I cannot do that. Legally, I cannot do that. It must be your. And number two, based on my experience, based on my and also my fellow other attorneys experience, I talk to them pretty often. The client who come up with a unique idea in their proposed endeavor has a better chance of getting approved for NIW application than generated by AI or written by someone else. Because at the end of the day, your proposed endeavor must be connected to your background, must be connected to your specific background, not just your field. So if you ask me what is the best way to get NIW application approved, the best way to get NIW approved is coming up with a unique organic idea about your proposed endeavor. You draft it yourself. Of course, we are here to help you, but if you can write it, if you can come up with some unique idea, and again, I have a whole video about how to draft a good proposed endeavor. Please watch that video. I discuss detail. So yes, if you can spend time, if you can take it seriously, if you take spend enough time, pay attention, then you have a better chance of getting an NIW approved compared to if someone else drafted, because he or she may not know about your background as much as you do. So please take it seriously. Next slide, please. All right, now I have some general observed trends and developments in NIW's applications in last few months, and that these kind of things, if you pay attention, if you follow those new things, then of course you'll be able to do a better NIW application in 2025. Next slide, please. All right, evolving interpretation of national importance. Um, this is a very how do I say, very fundamental talk about law. Law is all about interpretation. How USCIS officer is going to interpret it, how a judge is going to interpret it, how is going to another authoritative person is going to interpret it, is the most important thing. Even though, so let me give you an example. So let's say 2 years ago, USCIS defined national importance in a certain way, and your friend applied NIW based on that interpretation, and now USC has totally changed the interpretation of NIW application, but you did not know that. You did not follow it. You just followed your friend's application, you submitted it, and boom, your case is denied. Because USC has changed the narrative. USC has changed the interpretation of national importance. So you always have to, follow the recent trend, the latest developments. That's why I really encourage people to go to a good attorney, because good attorneys, they follow the trend. They follow every single detail. Law is all about change, especially under Donald Trump. There'll be change every week. Sometimes we lawyers, we get frustrated about the new changes, and you as a client, it would be very difficult for you to follow, but you have to follow the latest developments. So again, USCIS is constantly changing the interpretation of national importance, and you always have to follow the latest one. As I said, USCIS is increasingly emphasizing national impact as a determinant for approval. So if you can come up with a good idea in your proposed endeavor that has a national impact, you have a better chance of getting approved. I know I'm telling it multiple times, but please, this is really important. That's why I'm telling so many times. Also, the petitioners must provide substantial evidence that their work contributes meaningfully to the country's advancement beyond local or regional level. As I said, let's say you live in the city of Los Angeles, and your proposed endeavor is doing benefit to the city of Los Angeles. That's not enough. You have to come. It's a national interest waiver. You have to address the national issue. Even it's good for the state of California, it doesn't matter. State of California is just one state out of 50 states of United States. So, and also you must come up with evidence. Without evidence, we lawyers, we cannot say anything. I'm pretty sure you already know that. Without evidence, nothing has any value in legal world. So you have to come up with evidence, and it must go beyond local or regional level. It must address the national interest of America. Next slide, please. All right. Heightened scrutiny in saturated field. Certain industries face greater scrutiny due to an influx of applications. Here are the challenging fields. Let me tell you some fields where there is a heightened scrutiny. Number one, finance. Often perceived as benefiting corporation more than the society. So if you have a business background, if you have like, let's say accounting background, if you have finance background or like a generic business background, most of time USA say, you are working for a corporation, you have a finance background, so your work is going to benefit the company, probably your clients, your customers. It's not going to benefit America as a whole. That's why I always tell, please come up with some research idea that will have a bigger implication on American interest. Also, consulting and business development, generalist roles struggling to demonstrate national importance. If you say that I'm a consultant in this field, I'm a business development officer in this field, most likely USCIS will say, yeah, your work is going to benefit the company, not the country. Also, therapists and accountants, as I said, if you're a therapist, any kind of therapist, probably you're going to benefit your clients. If you're an accountant, you're going to benefit your company or your clients. It's not going to impact America as a whole. That's on the other hand, if you say that, hey, I'm a therapist, I have a 25 years experience or 10 years experience as a therapist, and I am going to develop a system through my research, and the new system is going to impact all therapists in America. As a result, all the customers of all the therapists are going to get benefit. That is a national importance. Do you see the difference? Let me tell you again. So let's say you are an accountant, you are providing service to your customers in a certain area. If you just say that, hey, I'm an accountant, I'm going to keep working as an accountant, it is not, you're not serving American national interest. On the other hand, if you say that, hey, I have been accountant for 10 years and I have a master's degree in accounting, and based on my education and experience, I am going to do some research how to better address this issue, come up with some issues in accounting field, and say, hey, this is the big problem in accounting field, and based on my research, based on my degree, I'm going to address these issues. And then all the accountants in America, they will be able to follow this thing, and then through them, all the people of America, they are going to get benefit through my research. Then it's a national interest protecting service, right? So you have to understand the difference between what I just said. So if you follow this thing, you will be benefited in 2025. Next slide, please. All right, promising fields for NIW applications. So previous fields that I mentioned, those are kind of like more challenging fields, but now I'm going to tell about some other fields that are more promising than other fields. So healthcare professionals contributing to public health, epidemiology, and medical advancements are in a better position to have NIW approved. Similarly, STEM fields like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, innovators and researchers impacting national infrastructure and security are going to get easy approval under NIW. Public health professionals, experts addressing systematic issues such as healthcare, accessibility, and representative medicine are going to get more approval in NIW fields. Education, especially in STEM education, addressing workforce needs and educational disparities, are in a better position for NIW than other fields. Next slide, please. All right. Increased importance of robust evidence. As I said, without evidence, we cannot really say anything. Law is all about evidence. RFEs are more specific in requesting measurable impacts and detailed documentation. Remember this word, measurable impacts and detailed documentation, meaning your impact must be measurable. You cannot just come up with some vague impacts. It must be measurable, and also detailed documentation. Peer-reviewed publications, public recognitions, and evidence of social impact are very crucial for NIW applications. Next slide, please. All right, now my recommendation for my clients for 2025. If you follow these recommendations, please follow these. Then you will be really benefited in next year 2025 under President Donald Trump. Next slide, please. All right, strengthen proposed endeavors. As I said, if you can strengthen your proposed endeavors, it's really good for you. So let me give you some ideas. Clearly define long-term and short-term goals, demonstrating alignments with national interest and measurable social benefits are really crucial. Here are some tips, 3 tips for you. Tip number 1, focus on a single, well-defined field that aligns directly with national priorities. Number 2, Avoid overly broad goals that dilute the narration of national impact. Number three, explicitly detail how the proposed work will evolve and its anticipated outcome. So these are the tips. If you can follow it, your proposed endeavor will be really, really good. Next slide, please. Provide robust evidence. Again, I cannot say enough about evidence. Without evidence, really, we cannot say anything. Gather substantial documentation to substantiate claims of national importance. Let me give you three examples. Number one, peer-reviewed publications highlighting the significance of the petitioner's work is a really good example of a good evidence. Letters of recommendation with very specific example of the petitioner's impact on national or global context is a really good source of evidence. Number three, tangible work products demonstrating leadership, innovation, or influence in their field are really good evidence for NIW applications. Next slide, please. Tailored letter of recommendation. As I said, ensure letters focus on specific contributions and their relevance to national interests. And I have a very important tip for you. Encourage recommenders. The guy, the person you're going to get recommendation from, his recommender. Encourage your recommenders to provide clear example of how the petitioner's work has shaped policy, industry, or public welfare. Next slide, please. Highlighted industry relevance. Focus on industries where NIW applications have higher success rates. For example, healthcare, STEM, public health. For saturated fields, strengthen the narrative by emphasizing societal and national advancement. I pretty much explained everything earlier, so please follow this thing. Next slide, please. All right. So I'm going to talk about recent USCIS changes impacting NIW petitions. Please pay attention to these changes. And not only these changes, as I said, things get changes pretty often, especially in 2025 under Donald Trump. Everything would be upside down. Everything is going to change every week. So please pay attention to all the changes. Next slide, please. All right. Fee adjustment. Form I-140 filing fee as of April 1, 2024, the filing fee for Form I-140 increased from 700 to 715. A lot of people are still submitting their NIW application with the previous filing fee, $700, and USCIS just returned their application. Asylum program fee and additional asylum program fee is now required for each Form I-140 field. The standard fee is $600. Premium processing fee, effective February 26, 2024, the premium processing fee for Form I-140 increased from $2,500 to $2,805. And again, it may get changed early next year. Please pay attention to the changes. Next slide, please. Form revisions. Form I-140, USCIS released a new edition of Form I-140, expiration date 6/7/2024. Starting October 21, 2024, only the 6/7/24 edition is accepted. Prior editions are no longer valid. Anytime you submit any application, any form to USCIS, please check if there is any latest version. So let me give you like a funny example. The current I-140 forms expiration date was 06/07/2024, meaning it was 6/7/24 edition, and if you just see this form, you have no idea if there's a latest form or not. So you have to always go to USCIS website, download the latest form, and then fill it up, then submit to USCIS, because you may not know that there's a new form already available, and USCIS is not going to accept any previous form. All right, mandatory use of updated forms. Beginning April 1, 2024, USCIS required that the use of updated forms, including Form I-140, with no grace period for previous editions. So please follow these things. Next slide, please. Processing times, premium processing timeline. As of April 1, 2024, the premium processing adjudication period changes from 15 to 45 business days. So this is like a latest development. It's not 15 days anymore. Now it's 45 days. And under Donald Trump in 2025, it may be even changed. So please pay attention to these latest developments. Next slide, please. All right, that was my presentation. I tried to as short as possible, but it was a pretty long. So yeah, please, if you pay attention to all these things, you'll have a better NIW application in 2025 under President Donald Trump. Let me go back to Shudiksha. Shudiksha, I cannot hear you. I think your microphone is mute.
Yes, oh, sorry for that. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for this presentation. Now, I think we should go to answer some questions that are in the comment box. So, moving on to the first question, can you please comment on the huge backlog for the Bangladeshi citizens? Can anyone submitting now have any chances to get current before opt STEM, that is optional,
Practical training.
yeah, optional
Yeah,
practical training
OPT,
or that?
STEM OPT runs out. So,
Runs out?
um, yeah, thank you very much, Shudiksha. So, there's yeah, the backlog is increasing. And it's my prediction. I could be 100% wrong. I want myself to be wrong, that under President Trump, the expedition, the backlog may increase. So you have to take it as it is. There is no special situation for Bangladeshi citizens. There are some other countries like India, China, Mexico, and Philippines. They have a special category, but Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and all other small countries, they are under the same bracket. And yes, there's a long backlog, and probably backlog will even increase. We don't know. We don't know what is going to happen. So my suggestion is to take it easy, follow the current system, and try to apply as soon as possible. That is going to help you in the long run.
Okay, so I see that Arifin Antu has written that I have emailed you regarding E2 visa 2 days ago. Didn't get any reply. I'm waiting.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to tell my team to answer. We try to answer all emails, within a very short time. But last couple days was weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and also this is the Christmas time, New Year time. So many of our employees are in vacation. But yes, we will answer your email very soon. I think we did
Okay.
not answer that question. Yeah.
Yeah, there is another question. Please tell us some ideas for the law graduate who wants to apply for NIW.
Great, thank you so much. So, if you just follow what I just said last 20 minutes or 25 minutes, it doesn't matter your background. If you just follow what I said, please go ahead, watch the video again. It will be uploaded in YouTube and other place. Please watch it. If you follow what I said, it doesn't matter you're from law background or medical or pharmacy or any other background. You will be able to submit a very good NIW application, and your application will be approved. Just follow what I said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have another question that is, as a Bangladeshi, if after EB-3 perm approval coming to USA, applying for I-140 can get early green card?
Most likely no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the answer. Most likely no, because the delay is not for I-140. So under EB-3, there's three steps. The first one is perm. The first one is perm. Once perm got approved, the second one is I-140. So you can apply for I-140 immediately after your perm is approved, and then there's a long waiting period. And we don't know how long this waiting period will sustain. It may go in a bigger waiting period. It may get shorter waiting period. It may remain the same. So you have to wait for the waiting period. Once the waiting period is over, once your priority date is current, only then you can apply for the third part. That will give you the green card. So you get green card after the approval of third part, which is not I-140. The third part, if you're in America, the third part is I-485. And if you're in a foreign country like Bangladesh, Nepal, or any other place, then the third part is the immigration visa petition, IVP, or consular process. The short answer to your question, after the EB-3 PARM approval, if you come to America and apply I-140, that is not going to shorten your waiting period. That is not going to expedite getting your green card. You have to wait for the wait for the waiting period. Once your priority date is current, only then you apply for the third part, and then once the third part is approved, then you get your green card.
Okay, so he has a follow-up question as well, and that goes like, and can I travel to Bangladesh with I-130 and parole?
I think you mentioned I-140. Yes. So once you submit I-140, it doesn't come with any parole. Parole, when we apply for parole, once you are in, apply for the third part, which is I-485. So if you apply for I-140 or even it is approved, yes, you can frequently travel to Bangladesh or any country in the world. That is not going to impact you, and you will not have any parole. It depends on your other visa category. So if you have a B1, B2, or F1 or other visa category, then you need to follow the requirements for that one. I-140 will not give you any parole.
Okay, so Priyanka Belbase writes that is there any criteria for how many published papers needed for applying NIW?
There is no minimum requirement, but the more the merrier, the more the better. And also, not only just the number of the publications. If you have publication in a prestigious journal, tier one journal with a very high impact factor, those are better than publication in a very low tier, low impact journals. So the short answer to your question is yes, the more the better, and also the better quality papers, the better. So try your best to publish as much as possible, but there is no minimum number.
Yes, okay. So there is another question that is it possible to get NIW with the Bangladesh master's degree and work experience?
It is possible, but it is less attractive. Of course, when USCIS officers, they see that this applicant have an American master's degree, or master's degree from some other developed countries. I hate to say this, but this is a real thing. So let's say if you have a master's degree from Japan, Korea, Germany, Australia, Singapore, those countries are have a better education system than, let's say, Bangladesh or Nepal or Pakistan or Sri Lanka. So yes, it is possible to have a NIW approved with Bangladeshi master's degree and work experience, but chances would be lower than having a master's degree and work experience from some other developed countries.
Okay, so another question goes like, okay, so he has a follow-up thing that it should be I-131, sorry.
Yeah, so I-131, I understand the parole document is called I-131. So once you submit I-130 or I-140, in either situation, you do not submit any I-131 applications. There is no reason for that unless you have some other reason that I do not know. So usually when you submit I-140, you do not submit any I-131 with I-140 application.
Okay, we have another question that is if a person applies for an NIW with premium processing and does not receive a decision within 45 business days, what options are available to resolve this? Thanks in advance.
Well, if you apply for premium processing, so USCIS do not guarantee you that they will give you result within 45 days. This is kind of like more of a, like a offer. So yes, if you take premium processing, we will try our best to give you result within 45 days. So if you do not get your result within 45 days, please call USCIS phone number. I know that if you call USCIS phone number, customer service phone number, it takes forever to get someone. But yes, you can call their number. Someone will pick up. You can say, hey, I applied for premium processing and I did not get my result within 45 days. They will probably come up with some ideas. And even after that, you can always inquire through email. And at last, you can also file for mandamus. But I will not file for mandamus unless if you pass 1 year of your I-140 submission. So short answer to your question, it is not mandatory. It's not guaranteed for 45 days. It's highly likely that they will do it. But if they do not do it, you can reach out to them.
Okay, so next question is how strictly do you need to continue working in your proposed endeavor after getting the approval till the 485 application?
Yes, I advise my clients to keep working in that field that you mentioned in your proposed endeavor until you get a green card in your hand. Once you receive the green card, then you can move to other fields. But please keep working until you receive green card in your hand, meaning your I-485 application is approved.
Okay, so I think that's it. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mahajan. And with that, our question and answer session ends here. Thank you for joining and answering all the questions. I think you have answered all the small to big questions of EB2 NIW things. And thank you everyone for participating. And special thanks to Mr. Mahajan for your valuable time. And to dear audience, thank you so much for attending. Next week, we have another live session scheduled during the same time, which is the 11 a.m. EST, that is Eastern Standard Time. Bangladeshi time, we have 10 p.m. and Nepal Standard Time, we have 9:45 p.m. So before we wrap up, we would like to give a quick glance on the major immigration news of the week. Till then, have a great week. Thank you, everyone.
Welcome to the latest episode of Weekly Immigration News by Raju Law. This week we brought to you 4 latest developments in the immigration arena. Let's start with the headlines. DHS strengthens H-1B program. Immigration boosts U.S. population growth to a 23-year high. USCIS updates guidance on case assistance and feedback. H-2 final rule. Let's get into details. Department of Homeland Security has finalized a rule modernizing the H-1B visa program effective January 17, 2025. It streamlines approvals, enhances worker retention, updates specialty occupation definitions, extends benefits for F1 students, and introduces stricter compliance and a new form I-129. This aims to boost innovation and U.S. competitiveness. Next up, immigration in 2024 drove U.S. population growth to its faster rate in 23 years, surpassing 340 million residents, the Census Bureau reported. This nearly 1% growth, the highest since 2001, contrasts sharply with the 0.2% low during 2021's pandemic restrictions. Immigration added 2.8 million people, aided by new counting methods, accounting for 84% of the 3.3 million increase. Moving on, USCIS has updated its policy manual to improve guidance on case assistance, feedback, and address changes, emphasizing the use of online tools and providing detailed support via the Contact Us page. Response time goals for service requests have been adjusted from 15 calendar days to 15 business days, with priority maintained for certain categories despite removing special timeframes. A new chapter on address changes ensures accurate delivery and clarifies update procedures. Finally, Department of Homeland Security has finalized a rule amending H-2A and H-2B visa programs effective January 17, 2025 to enhance worker protections and flexibility. Changes include stricter enforcement against fees, whistleblower protections, immediate job portability, removal of the country eligibility list, clarified compliance rules, simplified 3-year stay resets, and a revised Form I-129 for petitions. Raju Law, a leading immigration law firm in the United States, boasts an impressive success rate exceeding 99% in immigration cases. The firm operates from offices located in Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York, and Dhaka, featuring a dedicated team of 7 attorneys alongside over 100 law clerks and case managers. Raju Law has firmly established itself as a prominent force in the field of immigration law. In the complex landscape of U.S. immigration, Raju Law specializes in writ of mandamus, a process that expedites delayed immigration cases, ensuring prompt interview dates with USCIS or the embassy. To access the streamlined services offered by Raju Law, individuals can reach out via the provided contact details on the screen or send an email to info@rajulaw.com. For any immigration-related assistance or consultation in the United States, Raju Law is a reliable destination.